Here's the latest on Flight 370. There is still no confirmed sign of the missing Malaysian Airlines jet. But this morning, officials from Australia and China say their search planes have seen large objects in the southern Indian Ocean. However, the most advanced American search plane cannot find them. Chinese official news agency says the crew aboard a Chinese plane saw two large objects and several smaller ones. Australia's Prime Minister says a crew from his country described two objects. One was circular and gray or green. The other was orange and rectangular.
And the families of Flight 370 passengers are still holding out hope, but the lack of answers becomes more painful by the day. Seth Doane is in Kuala Lumpur, where the flight took off to Beijing 17 days ago. Seth, good morning to you.
Good morning. That's right. There is such a focus on the search, of course, right now, but it's not until you sit down with the family members of those 239 people on board that you're reminded of what this story is really all about. We sat down with the wife of one of the crew members who told us that she still pretends that her husband is around. Maybe, she said, just off on another flight. You still SMS, you still text Patrick?
I do.
What do you say in those texts?
The first text that I sent him was, I asked, where are you? Then after that, it's like, come home, we're waiting, and you've got dinner to prepare.
Jackie Gonzalez doesn't know how many text messages she's sent in the last 2+ weeks to her husband of nearly 29 years. And these days, even the little questions get to her.
How are you?
How are you? Yeah, how are you feeling,
It's such a simple question.
It is. It's a very simple question, but one that really hits.
It hits because she hasn't known how to answer that question since her husband, Patrick Gomez, disappeared on Flight 370, where he was working as an in-flight supervisor. Since then, she's been watching and wondering about those satellite images from France and China and that search off Australia.
So right now we're just on borderline thinking that, hoping that they don't find something.
You're hoping they don't
find something at sea, because that means there is hope that they're on land.
For now,
so
she's trying to keep herself busy.
At home, it's just sitting down and waiting. How much can I clean the house? I can't clean the house the whole day.
When she really gets to thinking about her husband, it's just too much.
My daughter says my dad hasn't seen me get married yet. He's supposed to be around for all that. To give his daughter away? Oh, my poor girls.
And they haven't told their 2-year-old grandson, Raphael, what's happened.
At the moment, he keeps us on our toes with the little things that he does in the house, the mischief he gets up to, right?
He's a good distraction.
He is a very good distraction.
She yearns for those mundane bits of their old routine.
Every day I call and I text.
And you hope he'll respond.
Yes, he has to, because the phone bill's going up.
Each of those family members have been assigned caregivers, a sort of counselor who can answer questions or deliver news directly from the airline. Jackie told us that her caregivers told her to have her bags packed, have her passport ready in case any signs of Flight 370 are confirmed. I asked her what it was like to wait for that phone call, and she looked down at her fingernails and she said, "Seth, my nails are all gone." Charlie, Clarissa, Gail.
The pain of not knowing you've been...
I was just there in Malaysia at the hotel, and you would see the relatives and just the agony of the waiting. You could see how it wears on their nerves after 17 days.
No, I could feel the pain just watching them on TV. But what's so interesting is that you feel relief if they find the wreckage. But then on the other side, you know what that means. 239 people are in mourning. It's such a tough story.
Very tough story.